You tell us what happened, what you were suggesting, what the mayor's response was. If anybody doesn't know, start from the beginning and fill us in.
Well, I think it's no secret, Robert, that crime in Shreveport has spiked to a level that we haven't seen in years. Homicides are up 138%. Rape is up 21%. Business burglaries are up 140%. Armed robberies are up 150%. And I categorize those statistics as being crisis level. And we need help to eradicate and make our citizens feel safe of these type of crimes. So
and you suggested what?
I suggested that we will have the mayor to engage the sheriff department and to bring patrolling and other law enforcement activities within the city to help eliminate some of these things.
And she stood up and said, "Why, Councilman Bradford, that's the best idea I've ever heard. Thank you very much," right?
No, she came with resistance, and I truly don't understand why. I don't know what world some of our people are living in, but in the world of Shreveport, we are facing fear and criminal elements that we've never seen in a while, and I just thought that it was a great proposal to engage other resources, and the sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer for the parish. Shreveport is in the parish, and I just believe that he has an obligation and responsibility to help when we need help, and we need help.
Mr. Willie, did you mean to imply to the mayor and to everybody for that matter that the Shreveport police is outmanned? Explain to me what you meant by your suggestion.
Listen, it's obvious. I mean, you heard the statistics, and the numbers ain't lying. They're real. People are feeling what they're telling me they're feeling. I'm feeling it, and I'm saying that obviously what we're doing is not working. Okay, I'm not at all insulting or disrespecting the Shreveport Police Department. They may be doing all they can do, but when you do all you can do, and these numbers are still on the rise, we just need to seek other resources. The sheriff department is a resource that we have not tapped into to help deter it. Now, I'm old enough to know when back in 1988 and 89, we initiated the Operation Thor, where the police, Shreveport Police, the sheriff, the state police all came together to root out some of the crime and the gang activity and the drug activity that was plaguing our community. We're not at that level, but I think at the same time we need to start initiating some measures that will keep us from slipping out into an area where we haven't been. And once we get out there, it's going to be hard to get it back. So I'm just saying, let's be proactive in moving to look at ways in which we can, bring some peace and harmony back into our city and eliminate the criminal element. Councilman
Willie Bradford, what can the sheriff do that the police officers are not doing, and who's going to pay for this?
Well, again, this is a two-phase proposal. Initially, I wanted, the sheriff can bring in, deputies, boots on the ground, patrolling, technical advice. The sheriff was also the chief of police, so he was around when Thor was in operation. So I'm just saying that let's bring some more experience. Let's bring in some measures that we have not initiated and try to, be more broader in how we are policing. We need checkpoints for guns and drugs. You can't have a shooting on Interstate 20 at 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, that's ridiculous. And we're going to sit by and act like nothing is happening, that we okay. I'm just saying, and I'm surprised, certainly at the response, because if the sheriff was invited in, I think he would be open to what he can bring and what he can offer. And I believe that as a race to paying for it, once again, I was hoping that the mayor would engage the sheriff and the police chief would engage the sheriff. They look at a strategy, plan out what measures they want to take, and then assess a cost to it, and let the city council consider how we would fund it. And then I told them yesterday at the council, I'm willing to go to the parish commissioner meeting and ask that they also kick in some resources, some funding so that we can get rid of this criminal element. And I think they also have a responsibility. We city of Shreveport is the largest tax base for the parish, and again, we cannot allow criminal activity to run wild, and all the government agencies within this parish will sit idle by and do nothing while the people live in fear.
Councilman Bradford, can you tell me, to those people who keep saying, and you'll hear this repeatedly, this is a black on black crime problem, that's what Shreveport's got. What do you tell those folks?
Listen, this is an everybody problem. I mean, there may be some parts of what's happening in Shreveport that is related to a lot of things. Okay, I mean, I think joblessness, hopelessness, despair. You know, all these are contributing factors, but at the same time, we cannot just categorize them as a black problem and not address them. I mean, this has happened. I've seen this picture before. Okay, I've seen this movie in Jackson, Mississippi. I've seen it in Detroit, Michigan. I've seen it to where we just sit by and let the crime element, you know, hold us hostage, and then we're gonna have white flight. Tax base is going to leave this town, and we're going to be stuck with a donut. And once we go there, it's going to be hard to recover from that type of extreme measures. And I'm just saying, it's just reasonable to me that at this time, when we have not used every resource to our exposure, not to try to make this better by engaging the sheriff. And I'm going as far as saying, and I think. My next measure is to ask the state police to come in. We're not doing it. If these numbers are accurate, and they are accurate, and they're real, then we're not doing something right. And if we keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, you know what that means. Mm-hmm. What's the definition of that? And I'm just saying, let's be leaders. Okay, leaders lead in time of crisis, and this is an opportunity for us to show that we can provide leadership that will bring a degree of safety. This is a public safety issue back to this city, and something has to happen. We just can't say we can't do nothing. That's not leadership. That's not being effective in what the people elected us to do. They elected us to make their lives better, to give them a quality of life, to keep them safe, and to provide services that they can appreciate, and that's what we need to do.
Pardon me, Mr. Willie, but you've used the word leadership about 4 or 5 times in the last 90 seconds or so. Do you think the mayor is showing a lack of leadership in this instance?
I'm just saying, Robert, that people are afraid to come out of their houses at night. We have shootings almost nightly. We got armed robberies. We got burglaries. And I'm saying if we are doing all we can do, then shame on us. Okay, it's an indictment that we are not being effective in keeping our city safe. So I'm just saying that if we see the problem, ignore the problem, then there's something wrong with us. We cannot be in denial of what's happening in the city and expect for us to have a wholesome city. It doesn't go that way. If we see issues, if leaders see issues, they correct issues. They solve issues. That's what people put us here for. They want us to solve this problem, and we cannot solve it if what we're doing is not solving. We got to go outside the box and do something. If it's temporary, it could be temporary, but we need a 24/7 non-tolerance crackdown on shootings, violence, and crime. And I think if we put more boots on the ground, that we could accomplish that. The message will be clear that we are no longer tolerating this type of behavior, and the criminal element would be ran out of Shreveport, Louisiana. That's my goal. That's my intentions.
Councilman Willie Bradford, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Thank you very much.